This personality is so good at working with people. We all interact with people, and more or less we work really well with people, but there is one personality that it is so natural that they really excel at interacting with people in all sorts of different situations. And that is called the relating or the inspiring personality. And this is such a great name for this personality because they not only relate to people, but they really do inspire people to become better. This is a very fun personality to have in your family. The first thing that they do is they just really desire to create the best good for the most people. This is their goal in life. How can I make it better for you? These guys are service oriented. They care about you as an individual. They are looking at how you're feeling. They recognize when you're having a good day. These guys connect with people on a very human level. They can inspire people as individuals, or they can become an inspiration to a lot of groups of people. Just how they live their lives and how they interact with other people, they become very, very inspiring. Mother Teresa is a great example of inspiring because she just went about doing good, and that inspired other people to want to be like her. They're also natural bridge builders, and we really need bridge builders today. We need people who can say, you think this, and you think this, and you feel these ways, and we can actually meet somewhere where we can all agree and we can be our own individual selves, but still agree to get along in a way. We need this personality today more than ever before, I think. And so having this personality in your family is kind of an honor, as well as a lot of fun to have them there. They love to talk, they love to listen, they can kind of get caught up in gossip if they're not careful, but they want to know what's going on with people and who's interacting with who. And I always think of the really olden days, like, Pride and Prejudice. Tell me all about all your connections and what's going on, because everybody knew everybody's business. And that's really what this personality excels at. They know who's doing what and when and who's in need and who's got some excess that they can help. And they're a connector. They're able to say, hey, I recognize that you are so good at this one particular thing, and this person has this need for that thing, and they connect them. This can also be known as a maven, somebody who can really connect these two ideas and put people in positions where they can help each other. That's also very inspiring to watch that happen. Actually, I didn't write this down, but I love this. One of the best examples that I've seen of this is, I won't remember his name now, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman, when he did The Greatest Showman, he actually was really remarkable at this because he went to all these different personalities and he brought them together and he inspired them to their greatness. And one of the times that he did this was the girl who did the trapeze stuff. She was working really hard at it and she was tired and kind of worn out, but she's ready to go up again, and he walks up to her and he's like, you're amazing. He actually used a little bit crass language, but the point was he complimented her in a way that she felt, and she was like, yeah, I'm amazing, I can do this. And so she got up there and she did a great job with her routine, and he was so motivating to her. Another time he did this was with the girl who did the bearded lady thing. She actually was singing a song to get greenlit, to have all the producers come together to say, yes, we want to give you money to be able to make this this movie. So she's singing this song and she's really, really shy and reserved and doesn't like getting in front of people. But in this one particular time, she pushes down her music, she walks out, she starts just belting it out and being really powerful, and she's inspiring everybody around her. But she gets to a point where she's kind of emotional and not able to deal with all these emotions bubbling up. And so she reaches over and she grabs Hugh Jackman's hand, and he just holds her hand. And he's just like, you can do this. He was right there to lift her up. He is inspiring. He recognizes all the different people and what they need to be able to become who they can really become. He's such a great example of somebody who is this personality that helps everybody around them become their best selves because he recognizes what their need is, he meets that need, and then lets them soar. So he's really fun. He's not on my list, but he was actually a great example of that personality to me. Some others that are on the list, Mahatma Gandhi. Wow, he inspired people to do brave and hard things. Martin Luther King, yeah, he inspired people to go out and face down, Martin Luther King Jr., they faced down dogs, they faced down fire hoses, they faced down injustice. They faced it because he inspired them to greatness just by who he was and how he connected with people. And again, Mother Teresa, getting out there and blessing the lives of those who really couldn't do it for themselves and being willing to do the hard work of connecting with people that a lot of people didn't want to take the time to connect with. As with all personalities, this personality also has some challenges that they have to face. One of them is that they are constantly involved in other people's business and involved in, the drama that's going on everywhere, that sometimes they shortchange the family. That they are on the phone all the time and they just don't have time to be with the family. And balancing that, being able to say, hey, look, all these relationships are important and are good, but don't lose the most important relationships. Make sure you put enough energy into those as well. That's something that you kind of have to address with this particular personality. They can be very emotional. They feel other people's emotions a lot of times, and so they will reflect those emotions. And especially if somebody doesn't like them, they feel that as a personal condemnation, where some other personalities are like, okay, you don't like me. If they notice at all, they really don't care. This personality is going to notice that they're not liked, they're going to feel it, and they're going to really internalize that, and that can be really painful and hard for them to work through those emotions. So that's one of the things that maybe need to be worked through, is helping them to deal with their emotions in that way. And a lot of times they will neglect their own needs. I've watched people with this personality do this. They get so involved in solving other people's problems that they don't take the time to fill their own bucket and make sure that they are having quiet time and being able to meet their own physical and emotional needs. And so they can get off balance really easily because they feel like they're doing, they're kind of thrust into fulfilling their mission early in life. A lot of people take a long time to figure out what they're supposed to do. These guys know from a very early age, I am here to help people. And so they are automatically doing that all the time, and they haven't yet developed the emotional maturity to be able to take care of themselves before they have anything to give to other people. So teaching that is an important part of raising somebody with this personality. And they can become really discouraged if they're not recognized. They are putting out their heart and soul. It's not just that they built something or did something for somebody. They actually gave of themselves to be able to improve this situation. And they feel that. And if nobody recognizes that and says, hey, I really appreciate what you've contributed to this, they can feel really hurt by that. And that can be regulated too. You have to teach people how to find their own self-esteem independent of what other people feel about them, and that takes time and effort to be able to figure that out. And this personality especially struggles with that they put their self-esteem on what other people think of them quite often, and so you have to pull that back and say, you are who you are, your value is independent of what you are doing for other people. And so that's a challenge that needs to be addressed with this personality. However, they are really, really excellent at some things. They create harmony where there's discord, and man, let me just say again, we need that. That is so, so needed in today's world. They invite cooperation. They help people who didn't get along, or who were maybe competing, or maybe they were just independent. They're doing their thing over here and somebody else is doing their thing. This personality can take those two people and say, hey, what if you work together? Then look how great it could be. We could be so much better if we work together. So they really bring that idea and that ability to cooperate together, because they are so good at cooperating. They're so good at connecting with all these different personalities that they're able to show people who are different. They're like, hey, it's like this. This is how we get along with people. And so they show by their own example how those bridges can be built. They're very kind, they're fair, they're thoughtful, they're considerate, they're good at working together as a team. They really value team. They recognize that the team is really valuable, whereas maybe if you're the creative mindset, you're very independent minded. These guys are very good at working with a group. They love certain things, certain subjects over others. One of them is journalism, because of course journalism is all these ideas of people, what's going on in the world, who's doing what, what's interesting. So they love that idea. They love psychology, the study of how people interact with each other and what's going on inside of our heads. That would be very fascinating for this personality. Counseling is basically psychology in action. It's helping people figure out what's going on in their heads and solve it in their lives. And speech, they like getting up in front of people and talking, but they're going to come from it the performers will do speech as a performance, and whether people like it or don't like it doesn't really matter to the performers. It's more of a, how can I get a crowd going, how can I get them excited or whatever. But an inspirer personality, they want to speak for a purpose of inspiring people. They want to lift people up. They want people to be more connected with each other, more connected with themselves. They want a specific thing to come out of speech, and not just, hey, I got people to laugh, or a lot of people came and listened to me. That would be maybe the performer's goal. But with the inspirer, it's, I moved people, I helped people, I improved people's lives. So we have to teach to this personality in some unique ways. But I think they're fun ways as well. So history can oftentimes be taught through the lens of wars or who's in power. That's a lot of times, memorize these dates. But when you're teaching history to these kids, it needs to be focused on the people. You really want to be focused on the Spanish Armada. Tell me the story of the Spanish Armada, and not just, hey, this happened, but what were the pirates doing who are out there on the fringes of the big Spanish Armada? Why were they drifting off and going on doing their own thing, and getting into the heads of the individuals? And tell me about Joan of Arc. How did she find the courage to lead France to their own freedom? How did that happen? Tell me about these personal stories that really get into history on a personal level. They're much more interested in that than they are about dates and outlines and timelines. They want to know about the people involved that made history happen. And a great place to find this is in welleducatedheart.com. They've got lots and lots of stories of people. If they are trying to learn about a specific subject, one of the most effective ways you can do it is have them interview an expert in that subject. Their ability to talk one-on-one with another human being who's really good at this will open up doors in their mind, because you've got that people factor, so they're really naturally connected to this idea, and then the person talking to them will be teaching whatever they're really good at, and so they will be very receptive to learning whatever that person happens to be an expert in. And so that is a great way to teach to this personality. Have them write a blog, and make sure that the comments are on so that they can interact with people, because it's not so much that they want to get their ideas out there. Maybe they do if they have a really inspiring idea and they can write it in a way that they feel will move people who read it, but mostly leave those comments on. Let them interact with the people on there, or let them do live broadcasts where they can actually talk to people online, because they are people. That's where they connect, that's where they learn. Working in groups is way more effective than having them work alone. And group discussions can be really powerful as well, because again, they're the people and they're sharing what they think, and a lot of times they'll share their own personal experiences, and so that can be very powerful. You want to use examples when you're talking about math and science. A lot of times it can become dry and boring and very hard for this personality. So if you will read from Mathematicians Are People Too for math, or read The Story of Science by Joy Hakeem, or I've got a book called The 10 Famous Scientists. So you want to get into the stories of the actual scientists and the mathematicians. So it's not just numbers, but you're actually getting to know the people, and that will open things up for them. And you can always make math problems be about people too. There's this pizza and such ate so many pieces, and how many pieces are left for the other 3 people. So you're able to figure out math, but it's through the lens of human contact with other people. Having them get in front of people and tell what they're learning, that can be really powerful for them and a great way to teach. And then they're good at imagining that to be that person. If you teach them about Washington or Joan of Arc or something, you give them this really great story, they're able to imagine that they are that person and really become all the best qualities in that person. So that's why it's so important to teach using stories. And in order to motivate this particular type of personality, you need to acknowledge them for noticing others. This is something that they probably have been doing their whole lives, and maybe we don't notice that they're doing it, or we don't appreciate that they're doing it, yet it is a part of who they are, and it's a part of how they interact with the world. So recognizing that and saying, I love that you helped your brother. I love that you read to them. I love that you helped them tie their shoes. I love that you took the time to play a game with them. Recognizing those things that have been with them from a very young age is really important, because it enables them to see value in who they are and the things that they naturally do. And yeah, being kind and fair and thoughtful, all those things, point those out, recognize them. Give them a chance to talk. These guys love to interact with people, but especially when they're younger, that means they want to share who they are, and they want to be able to be the one talking. So you have to give lots of space for them to be able to do the talking, and you listen to them, because that's how they feel connected. They feel like, oh, somebody heard me. I am important to somebody. And so be sure that you have plenty of space for them to do the talking, and to give a lot of personal attention to them. They like to be in groups. They like to interact with groups, but they feel loved by having that personal one-on-one attention from you. So maybe setting up time to do that every day or once a week or something. And I discussed that in another video, is how to stay close to your kids and your teens. That works with everybody, but this personality especially needs that time, that one-on-one connection. Okay, in summary, it is very important to provide small group environments for these guys to be able to have groups that they can interact with and work on projects, to give them plenty of time to be able to talk and discuss. Because if you're just saying, okay, we've got this idea down, I've said what needs to be said, and so you should have it, let's move on, they won't be able to assimilate that information and they'll feel frustrated. So you have to leave time for them to be able to tell you what they've learned, tell you what they think. When you were reading that story, I thought this, I really liked this part of the story, I really connected with this character because of this. So they need time to talk it out, and that will stick it in their head. That's a really important part of learning for this personality. They love to interact and cooperate with other people. They need personal attention, and they love fairness and team spirit. This is something that is so important in today's world, that we have to have team spirit, and these guys naturally bring that to the table. So being able to encourage that is an important part of this personality's learning style. We all have things that we're good at, we all have things that we need to work on, but this personality brings so much joy in the family, and recognizing that and really encouraging them for doing the things that they do naturally and allowing them to do even more of that creates confidence in them so that they will be able to grow older and make the world a much better place. That's it for this one. I will catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.